Listen, if you are a photographer, you at some point have probably had some gas. And I'm not talking about the kind that comes out of your rear end. I'm talking about gear acquisition syndrome. And let's chat a little bit about why you maybe can put that credit card back in your wallet for now. What's up? My name is Jay LeBlanc, wedding photographer and photo video educator. At some point in your photography journey, I'm sure you have found yourself watching countless hours of YouTube videos on the newest, latest, and greatest cameras, lenses, flashes. You know, if you just had that one new piece of gear, maybe then you'll be a better photographer. Sorry to break it to you, probably not. So for today, let's talk about when you should buy some new gear, or maybe we should hold off and let's really weigh out the pros and cons and if it's actually going to affect our lives. Buying new gear can be so exciting, but buying a higher megapixel camera is not going to fix your blurry pictures. And buying a more expensive lens is not going to help with your lack of lighting abilities. And buying a new flash is probably not going to help out your posing very much. So do me a favor, grab your current camera, because I believe it's probably still pretty good. And let's have a little bit of a chat about when you should or shouldn't upgrade your current gear. I'm going to break this video down into two different parts. When we shouldn't buy new gear, we should probably hold off a little bit longer, and when it's actually time to go ahead and make that investment and upgrade our current gear. The very first thing on our list of when you shouldn't upgrade your gear is when you haven't already mastered the gear that you currently own. So let me explain. If you own a camera and you only keep it in manual mode and you take pictures with it and you don't really know any settings outside of that, or maybe you're leaving it in an auto mode and you don't explore anything past that, honestly, you're barely scratching the surface of what your camera can do. Cameras nowadays have a ton of features, especially if you have anything made within the last 10, maybe even 15 years. And it's easy to feel like they're holding you back, when in reality, you just need to practice a little bit more and learn your camera. Before you upgrade, take time to experiment with the settings and really learn them. And then when you find a setting that you're like, I wish I could do this, but my camera doesn't, but another camera does, maybe then we talk about upgrading. But until then, let's pump the brakes and learn the camera that we currently have. On your current camera, have you mastered manual mode, shot in RAW, used the time-lapse feature, HDR, built-in focus stacking? What about your lenses? Have you pushed them to their limits yet? Or your flashes? Have you maxed them out in power and really found an upper limit of what you can do with them? Sometimes your best upgrade is just learning what your current gear can and cannot do. Do me a favor, if you ever found yourself spending hours and hours watching countless YouTube videos on the newest, latest, and greatest gear, and you know damn well you have zero intention of buying it, you just want to ooh and ah over those new features that you wish you can have, drop a like down below. Because if you're watching this video, I know it's you. So do me a favor, help out a fellow photographer. Drop a like down below, leave a comment talking about the gear that you wish you could buy, maybe even subscribe while you're down there, and it helps me out so much. And I love talking about all the gear we wish we could own. Reason number 2 on our list of reasons not to upgrade is thinking that your upgrade is going to make you a better photographer. It's tempting to think that upgrading your camera or your lens might automatically make your pictures look like you're a professional photographer and you're ready for National Geographic. The truth is, it's not going to fix your bad lighting. It's not going to fix your compositions. It's not going to fix your lack of understanding of basic exposure. Before jumping to buy something, maybe you want to do some research and see if there is some way to achieve a look that you're after with the gear you are currently using. Reason number 3. If it's a piece of gear that you are really looking for one shoot or 2 times a year, maybe just consider renting it instead. Maybe you're curious about that beautiful 600mm lens, or you're looking to get into your first full frame camera, but it's a huge financial investment. Renting it ahead of time might just help shed some light on whether it's actually worth the purchase to own that piece of gear. Or maybe it is something that you could just rent when you have a paying job that is going to help pay for that large purchase. There are so many different rental houses. Local camera stores rent them. There's a lot of online resources. You can rent almost any piece of gear that you are looking to add to your gear bag before you purchase it. For example, if you're currently shooting with a 50mm 1.4. Is going to the 1.2 really going to make you a better photographer? Come on, go look yourself in the mirror right now and ask yourself the same question. I'll wait. Okay, did you do it? You didn't do it. You didn't do that at all, but you know the answer. It's okay. We'll keep it between us. Or is upgrading to the newer version of a lens you already have really that much of a difference because maybe it has slightly less vignetting or chromatic aberration, a characteristic in a lens that is easily fixed in editing software? And reason number 4 on our list for reasons not to upgrade is you're falling for the marketing hype. Listen, these big camera manufacturers, it's their job to sell and move product. And they are going to tell you a million reasons why the newest camera or the newest lens is so much better than the one that came out just a few short years ago. It's their job to move that product. It's marketing. And let's be honest, camera companies are really good at it. And they're really good at throwing it in our faces, especially when there's a new release of some major new piece of gear. They select YouTubers that will do a great job of getting their message out to many, many people. And many, many people that love those YouTubers are like, hey, that photographer over there is using the new camera. I think I need it. I think I need to be as good as them. I need all the gear that they use. Or is that YouTuber just being paid to say some things and then returning that piece of gear? Listen, I'm not saying all YouTubers do that. Some are very honest with their opinions and reviews, and I absolutely love those. And some of them are just very clearly getting paid to make a video on a piece of gear that they're hyping up just as much as that sizzle reel that the company released a few hours prior. I mean, every few months there's some new gear coming to the market, and it just so happens that, you know, towards the holiday season when we're a little bit more generous with our money, that a lot of those pieces of gear come out around that time. Coincidence? No, it's not. So before you rush off to buy that piece of gear that you swear up and down is what's going to make you a better photographer, pause for a second. We can add it to our shopping cart. Make sure you're not signed into the website though, like Amazon or if you're on B&H or something. We don't want to accidentally check out with it still in our cart. Take a deep breath and let's really consider what about this is different than what I currently have. And ask yourself, before yesterday, when this new camera was announced, was there something that I said to myself, I need this feature in the next camera I buy to really help me achieve a certain look or style, or is going to improve your photography in some way or another? If that feature was not on your radar before the camera came out, but after the camera was released, you say, oh, I think I need that, it's probably not something you actually need. If you're currently using your camera and you say to yourself, I need this feature in the next camera I buy, and that camera is released with that feature, well then maybe it's okay to go ahead and buy it. Which leads us into the second half of our video of when it is okay to upgrade. Let's just start right off the bat. If you have the money, go for it, have fun, upgrade all you want, buy all the gear, enjoy it, flaunt it online, go into Facebook groups, tell everybody about all the new gear you bought, and make sure that they know that you worked really, really hard for it and that you just aren't super rich to begin with. Because I envy those guys every time they post in Facebook groups. You're doing a good job. If you've agreed with anything that I've said so far, do me a favor. Drop a like below if you didn't do it already. Thank you. I appreciate you. And you. And you who did not like it, we'll talk later. If you have outgrown the current gear that you are using, maybe you're using a camera body that is 15 years old. Maybe you're using a lens that is a little bit slower and you find yourself taking on more work that requires a faster lens, such as you're shooting weddings and you're in low light situations very often, and you would like a lens that could focus faster because you're missing shots. All right, maybe then it's time to upgrade. Maybe if we're missing shots on a consistent basis, it's time to look at some options to make sure that we're getting those once in a lifetime moments. Or maybe we're shooting fast action sports and your lens just doesn't have enough reach to really fill the frame and get a good image of a player across the field. That's a limitation of the gear, and that's when, yeah, maybe you do want to consider upgrading. Next reason you might want to upgrade is your gear is technically holding you back. Let's say hypothetically you are hired by a dance studio to shoot dance performances. Well, during a dance performance, you can't use a flash. And usually it's pretty dark. The stage usually has some pretty dramatic lighting. And you have to use a fast shutter speed because dancing is fast motion. And we already have our aperture open as much as we could go. So we have to bump up our ISO. And when we start bumping it up too much, we're starting to get a noisy, grainy image. And we just don't find it very pleasing. And you're using a camera that's several years old, and there are newer options available that have better low light performance. This might be a great time to consider possibly upgrading. Or maybe you're shooting events where you are dealing with lower light situations once again and slightly faster moving subjects, and your lenses just can't focus fast enough on a moving subject in lower light. Then maybe, yeah, let's go ahead and explore some options out there of ways we can make sure we're doing our job and doing it well. Next up on the list, you're taking on paid work. You're taking on jobs that actually justify buying this gear. You could be potentially shooting events that are once in a lifetime opportunities that cannot be redone, and you want to make sure that you're using stuff that is reliable so you can do a good job and you won't have to worry about any consequences should your camera not produce images that are suitable for what the client's looking for. Plus, when you're doing paid jobs, you're going to want to make sure you also have backup stuff. Yes, you can rent here, and that's totally fine. But if we're taking on consistent paid jobs, maybe you're doing 2, 5, 10 jobs a week, renting a camera that many times just doesn't make sense at that point. It makes more sense to just go ahead and purchase a second body because it'll very quickly add up to the point where you're spending so much money on renting that you could have just bought the camera anyway. And besides, as long as you are making an income while you are purchasing new cameras, it's a tax write-off. It's a business decision. It is a tool for your business that you need to operate, and Uncle Sam gets a little less money from you this year. Or if you live in a different country, whoever is the metaphorical person that takes all of your tax dollars. In the United States, it's Uncle Sam. I don't know why. Actually, I used to know why. I forgot. I probably should have paid attention more in school. I was too busy playing paintball. Fun fact, when I was in high school, I used to play semi-professional paintball. Shout out to any of my paintball friends that might be watching this. Anyone watching this has ever played paintball or even photographed paintball? Yo, drop a comment down below. I want to hear who you played for, what tournament series you played in. I played back in the day when it was NPPL and NXL as the two big major ones. So drop a comment down below if you've ever played in any of those tournament series and tell me what team you're on. I'm really curious to hear more about it. Next up on our list is you need gear for a specific genre or niche of photography. Certain types of photography require certain gear. For example, if you shoot paintball or another sport where you need a lot of reach out of your lens, you're going to obviously need some type of telephoto lens. We can only crop into an image so much with a 50mm. That is an example of when, we might need to buy a specific piece of gear. Or maybe we're shooting in a studio where we're tethering our camera to a tablet or a computer, and the creative director or the client needs to see what you are doing. They're not just going to look at a little tiny picture on the back of your camera. Well, in that case, we do need some special gear. We're going to need that tablet or a specific computer or a camera that does a good job with tethering. I know most cameras do it. Some of them do it a little bit better than others. This is a case when we do need very specific gear. Or maybe we're starting a portrait studio. I don't know too many portrait studios that don't have any lights. We're going to need some good quality lighting. There's no sense of investing in cheap lights because you'll probably have to buy them more than once. Sure, people do it and get away with it. Personally, I'm one of the people who have the mindset of buy once, cry once, where you just spend a lot of money on good quality stuff right up front, and you don't have to worry about it breaking, you don't have to worry about replacing it every couple years. And next up on our list is if your camera gear is just flat out outdated or broken. In 2024, if you're still shooting on a film camera, actually a lot of people are going back to film cameras, but most people aren't taking on high volumes of paid work on a film camera. Sure, there are a very, very, very small amount of people who still are doing that, but if you are somebody who solely relies their entire business on shooting film, most likely you're not too relevant nowadays, especially in the worlds of photojournalism or sports or product. Most of those people are really not making a living on film anymore. So if your gear is outdated or it's broken even, let's replace it. just make sure that you have something that allows you to get your job done without too much of a struggle. So those are my reasons for why we should upgrade our gear. But I have a couple bonus tips for you, so don't go anywhere yet. Before we upgrade our camera or our lenses or our lights, let's think to ourselves. Maybe we should upgrade our skills first. There's a lot of online resources of how you can improve your photography without spending a dollar on camera gear. You could watch some YouTubes, you could take an online course, you could get a mentor or a tutor, you can go take a class at a local college or even do a workshop. There are a lot of options available to improve your skills without spending the money on gear. Shameless plug right here. I do now offer one-on-one mentoring. I have been offering this service to my photography students at the college that I teach at for years now, and I'm offering this service now up to all of you on YouTube world. So if you're interested on working with me, maybe help improve your photography a little bit, that is an option. There's a link down below. But if you want to improve your photography, take a look at what your skills and abilities are right now. Maybe ask yourself, are there other ways I can improve without having to go and buy a new camera every 3 years when it's released or buy a new lens every 5 years when it comes out? There are other options available to you. So don't think that you have to constantly buy new gear to keep up with everybody else and stay relevant. And let me just say real quick, if you are interested, I am also starting a Facebook group where I would love to help answer more of your questions that I can't do right here on YouTube. We'll have a little bit more of ability to chat back and forth about different topics. I want to start different challenges on a weekly or monthly basis. I just want to grow this community from YouTube and put it on Facebook as well. So if you're interested in joining my Facebook group, there's a link down below. Go check it out for yourself. I'd love to talk to you there. So hopefully this video helped you realize that maybe you just don't need to upgrade your camera or lens right now. And you can save a little bit of money and you're welcome. And if it did help you, drop a like down below. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go check out some videos on some new gear that I might buy. And until next time, peace.